What are we looking at? Friday at 1? What was it?
Yeah, Friday at 1,
All right, cool.
1 to Eastern time, Friday 1 to 7, and then Saturday, what are we doing? 10, I think.
Yeah,
10 to 4.
10 to 4. Cool, cool, cool. Good
Yes, sir.
stuff. Round up. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I don't know where you are in the world at this time, but it is good to see you. And my boy, Mike Fritz, what up, homie?
Hey, what's up, my man? How are you doing?
I see your voice getting better. You sound a little rough the other day.
Yes, sir. Yes, she's getting stronger and stronger. I pretty much lost my voice over the weekend, so she's getting back.
Crazy times, man. You
I
never
know,
know
man.
what's going to
I'm
happen,
getting
right?
healthier though.
It's unbelievable. Roundup, I am just so honored to be able to hang out with you. I very rarely get a chance to even go live anymore because life, business, kids, family, deals. But from time to time, Mike and I jump on here just to kind of give you some value and just let you know what we're doing. Today, I'm going to be your co pilot with this short journey here. Let's probably go from, I don't know, let's go from Virginia to Arizona. How about that one? That'd be a good trip today.
That sounds good. That sounds good. It's
What do you
probably
think
a little
about that?
hot here than Virginia or in Arizona than it is in Virginia.
Ah, yeah. So we make sure we get our shorts over there. It's cool to hear today.
Yeah, man, it's not cool here today. I think it's about a buck 10.
You lying.
No, I'm not lying at all.
Good Lord.
I was gonna say yesterday was. Let me think. What is it? Let me see where we are today. I lied. It's 104. 104.
That's what it was when I was in Dubai. It was like
Oh,
Dubai.
was it? Yeah, it's hot, dude. Desert heat. It's dry, but it's still warm. Still warm. Oh, I see people coming in. What's happening?
Yeah, we got 30 people on here, Mike. So
What's
today, Mike
happening?
and I we have like people paid us a bunch of money to do a mastermind, and like they get one-on-ones with us and hot seats and all that. Matter of fact, we're meeting with them tonight, but we're doing training this weekend, and we wanted to just tell you about it and give you guys an opportunity, my roundup homies, to join us just for a couple of days so we can push you, give you a little summer kick to
Absolutely.
jumpstart and electrify your real estate investing business.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can't I don't know when it really turned for me, but at some point I was I was enlightened about this world of paying for speed, and
Mm.
where I could join people on these mastermind style events and speed up my results and get results faster, and start really getting to the destination that I really want to get in life.
It's weird when you look back. Well, let me ask you now that I look back, where I can just take a few pieces of paper and give it to a human being and learn
Mm.
exactly what I want to know, and I'm done.
Yeah, it's just not. When you're. Sometimes it's hard. When I first started, it's hard because when our brain is trained before we really start to dive in that world, our brain is trained to think of it as an expense when it's really an investment. It's same as investing in real estate,
That's weird, man.
because if we do the work, we get a return on that investment. But the cool thing about these groups, just a couple weeks ago, my wife and I were in San Diego. We were out on a dinner cruise, beautiful. I mean, unbelievable trip. But it was with our own mastermind group. We were out on a group, and man, people pushing us to do better. And we got to hear Garrett J. White speak. I don't know if you guys know Garrett or have ever heard of Garrett, but
Who's that?
Garrett, he spoke at ClickFunnels. He's the really ripped, shredded, healthy looking guy. Runs Wake Up Warrior and really trains
Oh, that dude.
male entrepreneurs. Yeah.
I seen him all. Yeah, he's all around.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And he came really. He gave a quote that I'll share with you guys that I wrote down. It was so powerful. He said, "There's a version of you available that would not hire the current you."
Mm.
I wrote that down in my vision journal because it was so potent to me. Like, there's so much we can be called to get to help so many more people and get so much more done, but sometimes our limiting beliefs hold us back. So it was really a good weekend. But my point in saying all that is, it's a group that really pushes us to get to that next level. And I think that's what you and I, when we started the year, we wanted to do. We want to create something to help people get there.
Well, I damn sure enough wouldn't hire Chris Haskins in 2011. Shit.
Or Mike Fritz in 2011. I was a broke teacher making a few $1,000 a month, and so you wouldn't want to hire me back then either.
I Oh my God, if somebody would hire me, and I was barely even trying to figure out how to be a husband, because that's even a whole nother topic we could
Oh,
go on.
dude, yeah. Yeah, you got sometimes, I was talking to my wife about that. We were walking this morning. You got good people that are good at business and this, but we want to be people that are good at health, wealth, and relationships.
Yeah, that health is something, man. The older I get, I'm like, man, forget this money. I need to make sure my body's good.
Yeah, because if we make all the money and can't have health to play with our kids when they have grandkids, what in the world good is it?
You're right, man. You
You
don't get
know?
not 1 second back. Not
No,
one.
can't buy it back. That's for sure.
So,
That's for sure.
guys, round up. Hey, Kingdom, good guys, good to see you guys coming in today. It is such a beautiful day, any day above ground. So, Mike and I will be doing a mastermind this weekend, and we want to just give you a short overview of what we're going to be covering, how this thing works. Because I stopped using banks in 2011, 12 ish. Let me say 13, maybe, and that's where I really started to blow. Right.
Yeah,
So these strategies here, and you're talking about scaling because trying to put bank financing and scale your business, you never know when the tripwire is going to kind of fall on
they're gonna
you.
say no. And so why did you start, Chris? Why did you start looking outside of banks? Did they tell you no, or did you hit a wall, or why did you start looking outside the banks initially?
That's a great question, man. So, when the meltdown happened in '08, which
Yeah.
y'all better remember that. Don't get amnesia. Looking real similar out here today. So for me, 2010, I started getting foreclosures. Boom, boom, boom. And I was trying to apply for bank loans, and they were like, "Dude, you got it." They called it a repossession when I on my credit report. That's the technical term. You
Okay.
got a repossession. I'm like, and I mean, what does that mean? So I couldn't borrow
So
the
was
money.
the repossession was because of 08, 09?
Yeah, just I had high mortgage payments, rent were
Yeah.
yeah, just couldn't sustain it.
Yeah, sure, sure. The reason I asked that is because we all turned to I turned to seller financing and creative financing early on because I didn't have any money and any credit.
Out of necessity. It's out
Yeah,
of
out of
necessity.
necessity. Like I did it just because I didn't have the cash. Leanne and I didn't have a lot of even if the bank would have said yes, I didn't know how to get the down payment. Like, you know what I mean? So even if the bank would have said, "We'll give you $100,000, but we need you to pay 5,000," even if it was 5%, $5,000 down, I didn't have $5,000. And
Mhm.
so I had to start leveraging these strategies. And I think that hey, what's up, man? I think that the hardest thing when you first start off is you assume real estate is a certain way and you just know that way. You know, you go to the bank, you get money, you buy a house, maybe you rent it out for a little bit more than you're paying for, and you make $200 on that house, and then you go and you do it again, and that sounds good. Like the burst strategy sounds good until you run out of bank power. Like
And tenants stop paying.
nobody talks about where the burst strategy ends, and the burst strategy does end.
Oh,
I
you
mean,
better believe it does.
and if you're unfamiliar with the burst strategy, it's a system in real estate that's taught where you buy a property, then you renovate it, then you rent it out, then you refinance it, then you repeat. It's this process of continuing to buy properties, but it takes financing to do that project or
You're
that
damn
system.
right.
And nobody talks about when you get to the edge of that system. And nobody talks about what if you can't get the loans to refinance in the first place. Like that, I couldn't.
Me
I
neither.
couldn't I couldn't get them, man. I mean, you talk to people a lot right now. I mean, that couldn't get them.
No, you already got slippery. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My ice cream man's going by.
I thought I heard the ice cream man. I thought I heard the. You guys are not going to hear the ice cream man on too many YouTube videos. I'm going to be honest with you.
My bad. My daughter's like, I just bought her a dairy slushy from 7-Eleven. Leave me alone.
I just, I love it. I love it. I love it. No, but it's true though. I started because I just couldn't. I didn't have any money, and so I
Yeah.
had to figure out
Yeah.
ways to get that. And everybody, but one of the things that Chris and I were talking about just before you got here, just before everybody showed up, is think about if you fast forwarded your life
Mm.
5, 7 years, and you were bringing in an extra 2, 3, $4,000 a month because of creative financing. What would an extra 2, 3, 4? Tell us in the chat. Would an extra 2, 3, 4,000 a month, would that change your financial picture in 4 to 5 years if that was the
Wow.
case? Because I'm guessing, and maybe not, but I'm guessing that would make a big dent. And that's what I didn't understand. I wish I'd understood earlier. You know what I mean?
Well, Mike, I'm just like, I don't even want to push. I love to start off with small. I just admire people that can think. Everybody's like, think big. I do
Yeah.
believe that. But I'm like, I love it when somebody can just boil it down to say, I know we got all this out here, but look, let me just get 1,000. So that's where my career really started. I'm like, I need to figure out, let me just figure out how to get 100 a month. Then I can do 2, then 5 and 1. I think we're
Totally.
all looking for the 10,000 a month
Yep, yep. Every time I
goal.
talk to somebody, "What do you wanna do?" "Oh, I wanna make 10,000 a month." That just seems to be the number everybody
That's the
says.
that's,
That's the number. I don't know
that's
what
the
it
proof.
yeah, Ella said yes, Venice asked, yeah, might even Savage, yes. Yeah, that's the thing. Everybody, it totally would. But as Chris said, even breaking it down further, getting that extra few $100s a month, that's how you do that. And I remember Chris in what would it have been? It would have been 2010 to 2011. There was a guy, I lived in Southwest Michigan, and his specialty was going to the auctions and buying houses and selling them to people land contract. I found him on Craigslist, and he was selling them to people land contract or seller financing. It's just a term we use in the in the real estate space. And I never took any of those deals because they only made me an extra $200 a month.
Mm,
Looking back, had I took as many of those as I could get from that guy, I would be a very wealthy man today. And it was a mistake I made assuming that $200 a month was really what I was trying to accomplish. And I think that was just my broke mindset. I didn't know what I was doing. I was
yes,
young and
perfect
stupid.
word. Broke mindset, because you don't know.
Totally.
Like, we have to become time travelers. Like, unfortunately, I was able to fast forward when I was starting to like to look to see 10 years, 20 years later. I knew I
Yeah.
was going to pay my stuff off. So I'm
Hmm.
like, if I do 200 a day, then I know 30 years for sure this thing will be paid off. Obviously, I could pay it off earlier,
Yeah,
but
sure.
I want to figure out how to scale that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I remember so I look back on that day and I'm like, man, I wish I would have done that. And that's why Chris and I put
Start
this weekend together, this whole creative financing weekend was we want you to time travel a little bit and see what another year or two could be like if you
time travel.
employed some of these strategies, what it would look like to bring in another 400 a month or 700 a month. With inflation going up, you have to, it's a real thing. Gas prices going up and rents are going up and
Mm,
groceries are going up, car prices. With all that stuff going up, the average car payment has gone up $150 a month in the last year and a half here.
mm.
And so, with all of that going up, we just want to give you some strategies so you can control some money coming in. You can't really
Yeah,
control money going out. Like, you can't control what gas prices is. And if you can, please call us because we want to give you a piece of our mind.
they ain't gonna be on here.
Yeah, that's right. So, but the truth is, you can't control it. I can't control when I go to the grocery store what the price goes, but I can
Nope.
control if I learn these strategies what comes in. That's my
Oh
thought.
man.
What do you think, man?
Yeah, so that's exactly why creative financing is just so powerful. I want my round up homies to understand. I did not want to depend on the banks to finance my real estate empire. And needless to say that, moreover, how dare it for me to expect these huge institutions to finance my hopes, dreams, and aspirations 100%. And then they take on all the risk and I just to come and go. That's what happened in 2008, financing 100% of everything. And then the stuff falls apart. Who am I to expect these institutions to say, hey, there's Chris, you know what? Let's finance everything he wants to do.
And you know what I found out, Chris? No banker wakes up thinking about my deal.
They're like,
They don't.
hold on. They got a stack of files this tall.
No, Mike Fritz is not at their dinner table. Not their dinner talk. I can guarantee you that. And so, but I can tell you the first seller financing deal I did, I actually still have. It's a little 3-unit
Fast and
deal. It's not a very
foolish.
big deal for the kind
Mm,
of multifamilies I do now, but little 3-unit deal. I coupled two seller financing strategies, one that Chris teaches all the time, which is called subject to, and one that is just seller financing. And it was a coupled deal because the person that owned it, he was the owner of the deal but lived there. He defaulted on the loan, but he was seller financing he bought it seller financing. So I took over his seller financing note with the previous owner and just allowed part of the deal was to let him live there for 6 months rent free. I
sweet.
got somebody handed me this property and for $40,000. This property we're just refinancing again today.
What?
It's worth what, one, two, four times that what we bought it for in 2013, 14. And they gave it
Not
to
a
us.
long time.
They gave it to us. We never put anything down on it. No money
Holy,
down. They
but
gave us the
you,
property. Now we had to hold it.
unreal.
Here's the discipline, though. I don't want to paint a picture that's not real. We had to wait because we let him stay there 6 months. We had to wait about 2 years, 2 years before that was before we really started making any money on that property. So we had to do a little bit of work without earning any capital. But man, when we did, it was making us $1,000 a month off that one piece of property because we paid it
Wow.
all. And
That's cool.
so, but again, it's one of your strategies that you teach, which is subject to, which is so we're going to be going over this weekend, by the way. If you've
Yep.
never heard of subject to, oh my goodness, are you in for a ride? And then seller financing, which is when the seller acts as the bank. You just make payment to the seller. But I think that I just didn't know, Chris. For me, I didn't know what seller financing was. I didn't know it was a thing until it kind of fell in my lap.
Mhm. So this weekend we're starting, and all the information. I know if some of you are super busy, you can go ahead and go. The links in the video description. We're going to be this Friday at 1 o'clock, and Saturday we're starting at 10. I'll put those times in there on the sheet there, but the link, all the information's in the link in the video. But Mike and I will be teaching. This is going to be other people. You're going to join our year mastermind where people paid a ton of money to be with us. We're opening up this one little virtual event to my roundup homies because we wanted to say, look, if we can share this information, perhaps we can help more people.
Yes,
So the mastermind members will be in there, and the networking people that will be here are going to be extremely serious, not only about their current situations, but about their futures.
absolutely.
So the networking that you're going to get in there is going to be second to none. These people have sacrificed their hard money, and you will too, to join up and grow your business with other like-minded individuals.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a good point, Chris. People that have paid thousands and thousands of Chris to be in this mastermind, and since we had this virtual event coming, we're like, what if we just let some people come in and hang with us for the weekend, kind of test drive what we do? Because sometimes you want to dip your toe in the water before you jump all the way in, and we get that. And
There
so
you go.
we want you just to come and hang with us, get some deep strategies. We're going to be teaching not only creative financing, but I mean, you can even put this in the chat. How many of you heard, or Chris, you maybe you've even said this. As the economy changes, one of the most important things is to stay liquid. People say, have cash
Hmm.
on hand. Here's what I tell people all the time. You don't necessarily need to stay liquid, but you do have to have access to capital. You have to have access to capital somewhere, or strategies where you don't need it. And so strategies where you don't need it is a creative financing Chris and I are going to talk about. And we're going to talk about a little bit about raising private money, which Chris and I have done in different ways for years to be able to fund our real estate and add value to investors. We're going to be talking about all that this weekend in a high-powered mastermind room. And we're inviting you to come join us for the weekend, because it's going to be training that you won't find on either of our channels, just because
Hmm.
it's really tough to get this deep on any videos we do. I mean, I have
Yeah.
two or three. Chris has over 1,000 videos. I've got, I think, 250 on mine, and none of them go this deep. We just can't really get into it this deep.
Well,
And
the
so we
thing of it is, well,
scare
both of
people
us
off.
have different strategies.
Yep.
And I like it even with my other guests like Dan Barrero, Welby,
Yep.
Eseli, different strategies. When you put those guys together, like Mike is learning this note deed of trust stuff. I'm learning from Mike the syndication stuff. I didn't know what the hell a syndication even was until I met Mike Fritz.
Well, it's funny. I didn't even know how to put stuff into a land trust until I met Chris Haskins, and why. In
Mhm.
fact, I ran into it because I made an offer in this place, and the broker said, "Yeah, it's in a land trust." I'm like, "What the heck's a land trust?" I couldn't find out who the owner was
Mhm.
because of this land trust. And then I hear Chris talking about this land trust thing online. I'm like, "Oh, he knows about this." And but it is, we both have different strategy. Even raising capital, man. When we put our mastermind together, you were leveraging lending, and I was doing more equity, private capital. And man, our investors in our mastermind, they're doing all different strategies. They're leveraging all of them.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
have one person who just bought a house who's leveraging more of like IRA money. And then we have another one who's in the middle of raising capital for a multifamily, one who just bought a duplex, another that's in notes, uh, others that are in some multifamily. And so some that are ready to do their first deal. So these are real investors you're going to get to hang with.
Well, you never know. Here's the thing. Sub 2 is my favorite way to buy. I got 2 to look at today, guy. Let me tell you what's happening, y'all. Good Lord. People have paid at the top of the market. Please check me out. Over the last 2 years, people have paid above market. Shit, I can't. I'm not lying. I've sold houses above market value. So what's going to happen is these people are going to have life happens. Like we don't. The real estate business that we are all in is not necessarily based on real estate itself. Let me. What do you mean, Christian? Real estate business? We are dealing in the personal problem business. People will die every day. People will get job transfers every day. People will get. They will lose their jobs every day. People will get sick every day. These things are these are social problems that we come in to solve. So over the last 2 years, all this debt has been created on these properties at above market value. So when these social issues happen, they have to get out of it, and that's where you can swoop in and deploy these creative purchasing strategies.
Totally. And if somebody was, um, let me say, brave enough to do an adjustable rate mortgage or something like that, and got into that a few years ago, a few years down the road, those are going to be really, really, those interest
Nasty.
rates are going to spike, and there could be another wave of foreclosures. And so, learning strategies that helps partner with people in distress is a way to add value to people, so they don't have to feel the weight of foreclosure or bankruptcy or some of
Yep.
the things that come with those
Yep.
kinds of painful situations.
So once you get into these things, Roundup, then after you learn, you have the strategies, then you're a homeowner and you do whatever the heck you want to do with it. Once you learn how to acquire it, you can
Yep.
Airbnb it, rent it out. Hell, like I did, I moved into one of them. I did long-term rentals, Section 8. But you have to understand how to get in them before you can figure out what are you going to do once you get. Then you can say, "How was my exit strategy? How am I going to figure this thing out?" But you got to get in them first.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think um I think that when you first start off, it seems like a big thing to
Oh
chew.
man,
It
it
sounds
is.
big, right? When I first started, somebody said, "Oh, what you ought to do is you ought to do a lease option. You get this," and I'm like, "Oh my word, my head's about ready to blow up." And so I think it's important to learn a strategy and deploy that
Mhm.
strategy and warm up with a certain strategy, attach onto one, learn it, do it. You'll learn way more by taking information and going applying it. Chris and I always ask
Oh yeah.
about this: try, ask, apply. Right? Go
Yep.
try something, then you'll know what questions to ask. Ask them, then go apply those answers that you've been given. And that's what a mastermind allows you to do. Allows you to come and ask the right questions.
Cool. So listen, guys, the information is in the video description below. We start Friday. And nowadays, this is nothing going to cost you but a couple tanks of gas, to be honest with you. I mean, shit, I filled up my wife the other day. It was 101 bucks. I don't know what it is out there. It's,
Oh yeah, my forerunner today, or my forerunner was over 120, I think, the other day.
oh my Lord.
Yeah, yeah,
Gas is going up. So you better, well, unfortunately, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. I
yeah,
try to make sure I'm positive, but we have to learn new skills if you want to survive the way this thing is going. This is the stuff, let me tell you, this is the stuff that allowed me to not only survive but thrive 2007, 8, 9, 10, 11. Once I learned, now I was crumbling a little bit in '09. I was shaking. I was real shaky. But 10, 11, 12 is when I learned these strategies, and it actually allowed me to stay in the business where all my counterpoints gone,
yep.
moved that way.
How did you learn those strategies, Chris? When you said you learned this stuff, what was your primary mode of learning?
Man, books that time there was no YouTube, right? So
Yeah.
it was I bought a ton of courses. When I heard about this thing called private money, I'm like, what the hell is private money? But I need to figure out what it is because I bank money ain't working for me.
Yeah, right, right.
I
Yeah.
bought all these courses, dude. I mean, I can show you my shed. I've got just courses. I was scared to throw them away. They're probably all online now. I'm just so scared to throw them away.
They're valuable, right? To us anyway. Yeah, yeah. That's what I did, man. I remember the very first time I went to a 2012, I went to a live event, and I invested in a coach, and it was more money. That money was the half my salary for the year.
Good
That tells
Lord.
you anything. And so I it was a high investment, and but that inner circle mastermind was it changed my life forever. My life would never be the same today. And it was because I learned some strategies I didn't know before. Right. And that's really what we're going to be going over this week. We're going to be going over, Chris is going to be covering subject 2 this weekend. I'm going to be talking about seller financing, how to find motivated sellers, what they are look for, what they look like, where to find them. And then we're going to be talking about raising some capital. We're going to be talking about a new funnel that we're using to raise capital. And we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about how to talk to investors. We're going to talk about tons of stuff. Plus, we're going to have our other coaching students there. You're going to see us coaching some of them on hot seats. And it's going to be a highly valuable weekend for you to come and hang with Chris. You can't really get access to this kind of thing for this kind of price. We've never offered anything like this before.
Nope, not live. I can't believe we're doing it. Yeah, I don't even.
No, anyway. Yeah, exactly.
So, well, Mike, for you, are you still focusing on multifamily? Because I'm still strong single family.
Yeah. Nope, still multi. I'm in the middle of a multifamily deal right now. We're closing. Our closing is late July. It's a 66 unit deal in Louisville, Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
So we're raising capital for that. We have to raise about $2 million for that deal right now that we're in the middle of raising. We're about halfway there.
Okay.
And so we're in the middle of that raise. So it's always cool to come to these when we're in the middle of doing projects. So like I'm in the middle of what I do. Chris and I aren't primary coaches. We're primary real estate guys.
Yeah.
And that's a big difference because a lot of people kind of quit the industry and go coach and then they really kind of lose it. But I'll bet you, Chris, do you have deals going on right now?
Yeah, I just went to look at 2 today.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's like, that's what we do day in, day out. We do this because we really, we don't have an opportunity gap in this country, but we do have an education gap and we're trying to close that thing.
Yeah, this is one of those things that I don't even do this. I do this because it needs to be done.
Absolutely.
If I don't do it, I don't even know how it's going to get done.
Exactly. We've got to get the content out because I'm sick of everybody, the haves and the have-nots. That's a thing that's created by this lack of understanding. So we want to get all this information out there so you can join the party anytime you want to.
Yeah. Yep. And no, I used to think, Mike, that whole rich wealthy thing, that's a club.
Yep.
At the end of the day, do you want to join?
Yeah.
Do you want to join?
Yeah. That's the thing about the club is nobody tells you that if you learn the same stuff, you can be in it.
Do the same.
You just got to learn and do the same stuff. And it doesn't, you have to, at some point, it's tough to kind of swallow this. And I was talking to my coach about this the other day, but it's one of those things where you have to at some point say 100% of my life is my responsibility.
That's rough, Mike. Well, you know what though? It's rough, especially for Black people, because we look at our history and we're like, you know what? I don't want to accept that. I don't want to.
I get it.
At the end of the day, all that stuff happened.
It did. And now what though? See,
what?
Now what? I mean, I've told you this. My nephew is here. My nephew, we adopted. My brother and sister-in-law adopted from Haiti. We've watched our family change, and I can tell you that watching him grow up, he's grown up with a different set of circumstances, different set of rules than I did.
Mm-hmm.
But I can tell you that at the end of the day, it still comes down to him deciding his response.
Yeah.
Like he can't control what happens to him. He controls what happens from him. And that's what we want to say, that we just have to control what happens from us. And we just want to give the information so you have the option to control what happens from you.
That's a tough pill to swallow for some. I know it's for me because when I look back, I'm like, damn, why did this have to be like this?
Oh,
no one cares.
Yeah.
No one cares.
Yeah. And I wish that more people saw it that way, Chris, because I want to one of my buddies used to say, hope lies in responsibility. Because if it's somebody else's fault, then there's no hope for me to change, right? Or help. But that's you're right. It's tough I wish people saw it that way because I just want people to have hope, man. I want people to be able to move forward.
You got to do it, man. Self responsibility for yourself. And I didn't, man, I didn't want to do it. I don't like getting up, grinding every day. It's just part of being successful.
You got it.
So the links in the video description below. Me and Mike will go on here a few more things. I got some questions here. We start Friday, 1:00, Saturday, 10:00 EST.
Yes, sir.
Mike, Mighty Savage wants to know an example of a networking or JV deal, maybe in your world.
Networking or JV deal. Okay. Yeah. So first of all, a JV deal, or if you're just hearing that term, it's a joint venture. 2 people come together, do a deal together. So if you're networking in order to get a JV deal or doing a JV, that can take a ton of different forms. It can be somebody brings the money, somebody brings the deal, and you guys partner up on a deal. It can be, which Chris does that a lot in his single families, where somebody will bring the money and he'll take care of all of the, the management of the project. Or
Yep.
it can be where you bring the money. Maybe you know somebody who has capital, so you bring the money and somebody else has the deal. It can be that kind of connection. For me, my primary joint venture is I raise the capital and I structure the deal and I raise money from investors and I give them a little piece of the equity to invest in my deal. That's kind of how we structure our JV deals. But every deal, there literally is, it's unlimited. It's
Yes.
unlimited. I mean, you can answer this too, Chris, because you do a lot of this stuff. Chris, you JV on tons, not just real estate, but tons of business ideas. I mean,
Tons of
you
stuff.
JV on all kinds of stuff.
Cars,
Yep.
appliance stores. I mean, real estate. The JV. Somebody could be an owner. I've done deals where they own a house. I just step in and pay for the repairs, and we JV that.
Oh,
And
there you
if you
go.
come this weekend, I don't mind sharing. I'll give you my joint venture. You best to have a solid joint venture agreement. Don't do no joint venturing unless you got. Well, we have a 3-page one. Oh my Lord. Because you want to make sure that everybody's responsibility
Oh yeah.
is outlined to a T.
Yep. Yeah.
You don't want, well, I thought you were going to do that. Well, no, I didn't do that. I thought you were going to handle that.
Yeah, right.
And you got all the JV agreement is partner one, boom. Partner two, boom. Partner one, boom. And who's bringing what to the table? Partner one is bringing cash. You're bringing management skills. Partner one might be bringing labor, or he might be bringing tools, or he might be bringing a property. So many things that you can pair up to make deals work. I love it.
Yeah. No, joint ventures, especially in the bigger real estate deals, like in big commercial real estate deals, you're not going to see those deals without.
Oh yeah, too much money going around.
There's too much money to go around and too much money needed, and 99% of the time, those are multiple people that own those. And so again, JVs are huge.
Well, even with that,
Denise Bradshaw, awesome.
hey Denise, thanks for joining us. Even with my thing is, I don't want to minimize $100,000. I just think that we throw it around so much.
Oh, 100%.
That's a lot of money.
Oh, that's a lot of money,
That's
man.
a lot of money.
That's twice that's almost 3 times the average
income.
That's
right,
a very large. I mean, yeah, you're right, Chris. We throw that around a lot just because real estate is a big dollar
numbers
sometimes, and you're right. It's really important. Sometimes when we're raising capital, somebody will say, "I'll put in 100,000," and my brain says, "Oh man, I wish they'd put in more." And I'm like,
"That's it? Yeah, you're like,
yeah, that's it." And then I think, man, that's a lot of cash.
Like that's all you is that? That's it. Yeah, it's crazy how once you grow and you look back, like shit, 100,000, man. Hey, you can keep that.
I don't tell them that, but
I'm just.
Oh
man, I'm good. I don't even need next person.
I ain't as high rolling as Chris on that one. But
I'm just joking, but I'm just.
No, but you're right though. You're right. But it is. It's a good point, and I think it's important to realize right now they say in America that people don't have $500 in the savings account to be able to plan for some sort of emergency.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And we want that stuff to change. That needs to change, and that could start right here with us by making better decisions with where we put our money in. And you don't even have to put your money. You can do this creatively, and that's what we want to talk about.
Rosanna, good to see you. Mighty
Time of the
what
training,
time is the training? Yeah, I just put that on there. It's Friday 1, Saturday 10, and then we'll kind of go we'll go 1, I think 1 to 4, 1 to 5 Friday.
Yeah. And then Saturday will be 10 to
4.
Yeah, I think it's 10 to 4. So yeah, so you're going to get 2 days of content, but let me tell you, you want to come to take notes. So there's going to be a lot of content, and you're going to learn so much from watching us do hot seats with our coaching clients that you'll learn enough from that alone will be worth your investment. I'm telling you, when our clients ask us, we're like, well, have you looked at this site? We look it up right there with them. Yep, go here. Yep, fill out this, join this group, start networking here. You're probably going to get some investors there. But we just go like that. So you're going to get a lot of value just watching us do hot seats with our clients.
Joseph, any options if you can't afford the program, like a replay option? That's a good question, Joseph. We didn't think of that.
Yeah, yeah, we did not think of that. We did not think of that. I know you can get the replay if you invest in the program, you get the replay, but if the funds
Just
are
want the
a
replay.
little tight, just the replay, let Chris and I put our heads together on that. We might be
Yeah,
able
I
to
think
put
about
something
that.
together.
Send us an email on that so I can reply to that at Chris buys houses at Gmail. That's a good question. That's a good question. So we got 35 minutes. Oh, one question here. Mighty, would you say that learning the game from scratch as a newbie level will take a few months, or that others at similar starting points can learn this in a few weeks?
Hmm.
Oh man.
I would say, yeah, I
That's tough
don't.
right there.
Yeah, and I would I just let me put it this way. I think I'll shift the question a tad. Real estate is not something you learn. It's something you're always learning. Like
Mm,
every day I still learn strategies. I'm like, I'm in the middle of this deal right now that I'm doing, and I've been doing this a while, and I'm like, I forgot about it. I need to do it this way, and I learned something to do it. So it's not something you learn. It's something you always are learning. I don't know. At least for me, it is. I've never.
always learning. But even if
Oh
you, Earl Nightingale said, man, even if you know something, it's always good to be reminded from time to time. So
yeah,
I'm doing a house now where all of it has been financed by IRA money and my kids' college account. I have to be purposeful thinking. It's by design. Like, so I have to make sure the money comes out to buy the property. I'm telling y'all, man, it's a muscle. It's not fun. It's not attractive. It's not sexy. Yes, I want to just go raise money and buy the property, but I have to think with purpose. How is that property going to be bought now? So the financing is coming out of IRA money and my kids' education account. So that's another strategy we'll be going over. All of that we just literally bought a house where all the money came out of the IRA money. So
yeah,
it
yeah,
can
yeah,
be
yeah.
done. But I
Yes.
don't think Mike. Go ahead, Mike.
No, I was just going to say. So the newbie, or at the same level, few weeks, few months. That's the.
I
It's
wouldn't even look at it like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't look at it like that either. I would look at it like, what do you want to do? And how long would it take you to get a deal done in that specific strategy? So maybe you're saying, I want to get my first subject to deal. Okay, you can probably get a subject to deal, or at least start the searching process in the next few weeks and figure out how to search and start talking to owners and maybe get your first deal in the next quarter. I think that's a
Yeah, that's
definitely
realistic.
reasonable goal.
That's
And
realistic.
Chris would know more about that on that strategy specifically, but
That's
um,
realistic.
but again, I would look at it more like what do you want to do? What kind of strategy? And then what do you need to know to get there? And don't worry about the time, just worry about the next step. What's next? What's next? Okay, let me do this. Oh, I got to start connecting with sellers. Okay, let's do that. Okay, one called back. What do I say to them? So don't worry about learning it, just worry about the next step, learning the next step. That's what I don't know. What do you think, Chris?
I just think we try to put a time on success, dude, and
Yeah, that's a good phrase. Yeah.
I don't know, Mike. I just don't know if it can be done. I mean, we were talking before. Well, I always talk with my guests before you get on. That Mike's we're both learning new strategies, and I'm like, it took me X amount of years to figure out because these are just ideas, right? So we're trained to go get go get a realtor, go get a bank loan, home inspector, appraiser. I don't know how long it's going to take for your mind to shift that idea or that thinking because it
Yeah.
took me 3 years to kind of say, you know what, man, freak it, I'm gonna try it because
Yeah.
I was stuck in that whole I can still raise the money and go to the bank, you know. So I don't know how long it took me years, and Mike kind of did it faster.
Yeah. Well, I had some war. I would say I was a 10-year over 2 year success. It took me 10 years to have my good 2 years. So when people see I bought a lot of real estate over the last 2 years, that was I had an 8 year warm up in the dugout stretching out.
That is too funny.
And so I was buying a few, like one or two properties a year, just plugging along, man, holding on, plugging, plugging, plugging. Then I finally learned OPM. I learned how to raise capital from other people's money. Then my life changed. I didn't know how to do that. And so don't think of it like that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know if I look at it like time, get it weeks, months. I mean, shit. First of
Yeah,
all, you got to just understand the ideas. It's just
yeah,
ideas. That's it.
yeah. And get in the right rooms. Because when I got in the right rooms, I started rubbing shoulders with people that knew a lot more. I love Dan Kennedy used to say, you want to start to be comfortable being the dumbest person in every room. And he
Oh
was,
yeah.
if you know Dan Kennedy, that's a phrase he would say. But
Period.
his point was, you just want to be in rooms with people that lift you up. They're better, that know more than you, right?
Yeah. Bree the gardener. I'm looking for
Breeden Gardner.
financing using OTM. Other. What's OTM?
I'm guessing it was OPM, probably a typo, maybe.
Oh, okay, okay. How do you?
Maybe because she
But
said, "How do you?"
hold on, Mike. We don't know. Maybe it is.
Maybe
Maybe
it's
it's.
something else. Maybe it's something else.
Oh, how did you know that, Mike? OPM. All right, Mike. Here, you get the point for today. OPM. How do you approach investors, brokers, or partners, and what type of information? Oh man, I love this one. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. So this is this is a
Send me
good
your
one, man.
stuff, right? Send me your stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I remember the first time, Chris. I don't know about you. I was sitting across from an investor one time. He had $400,000, and I'm like, "Oh, baby, I'm licking my lips." And I get up from the meeting, and I was brand new. And he goes, "Just leave my stuff with my assistant." And I'm like,
Leave your stuff.
"Yeah." He goes, "Just leave your stuff with my assistant, and I'll look over it." The problem was, I didn't have any stuff. I didn't even know what stuff I should have.
Stuff.
And now I realize I wish I'd have had some stuff, because I I lost a lot of money because I didn't know what stuff to have.
You
So
better
I've
have
made a
some
lot
stuff.
of those mistakes. So yes, great question, Bree the Gardener. Great
Yeah, you
question.
gotta have some stuff. So Bree, we're gonna go over how both of us personally raise it. You know, you got to have a prospectus. And Mike has his brochure, how he goes over with people. Big difference showing up like this or showing up like this. Huge difference when you're meeting with people. Oh yeah, what you got there? Well, let me take a look at that.
Yep. So big. It's a big difference because it shows that, I think it gives the investor some confidence that, number one, you've done this before, you've thought about this, you understand their perspective, you understand what they want to see. So like when I was just on a phone with an investor the other day, and he says, "Would you send me your track record?" And he asked for, a bunch of stuff. It's like, well, and I said, "Well, you mind if I share my screen?" And he goes, "Yeah, sure." Walked him through my website, some deals we had done. I said, "And I'm going to send you the investor brochure as well as this deal brochure." Now, the deal brochure is the same as Chris's prospectus. We just call it something different.
Mhm.
And when you send them all that stuff, man, they're like, "Wow, okay, this person's on top." Chris, how often do you sit down with an investor, give them that prospectus, and they're kind of like, "Wow, this is the real deal."
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah,
All the time.
exactly.
They say, look, you took time, you're focused, you're dedicated, you're prepared. I just told my daughter I learned this from pre-president Donald Trump. Pre-president Donald Trump. The two type of people. Ones that prepared and ones that aren't. So my
Yep,
daughter went to play Carnegie Hall this weekend, right? And if any musicians on here, you know you have first, second, third chairs, right? Or
yep,
first, second, third parts. So I keep telling my daughter, I'm like, look, two type of people. Those are the prepared and those that aren't.
yep,
She shows up. She shows up from we've been practicing. Mike, she shows up. She made fourth chair, but she was playing first part, right? So I'm like, this is the magic of being prepared when you show up. You don't want to be the bottom playing. And there's no disrespect to the third trumpet
yeah.
players, but you want to play, the Mac Daddy's playing first part.
That's right. That's right. That's
Get
right.
prepared.
Yeah. And I think that's a great question, Bree. And part of that is understanding, every investor is a little different on what they want to see, but you need a prospectus or a brochure, something that lays
Yep.
out who you are, what you do, what kind of projects you do, and then something that's project specific. It can be the same thing to that project that you're raising money for. And maybe you're raising money and you don't have a project yet. You're just talking to investors, kind of like an awareness talking to, just, "Hey, this is what I'm up to. Would you be interested once I found a deal?" Then you can use something more general. But if you have
Well,
a deal for a specific fix and flip, like Chris is doing, or a multifamily like I'm doing, they're going to want to see the deal at to some level at least. Which
yeah, it's
that
easy to raise money if you have a deal, but still, if you're new and you haven't done it, at the end of the day, you could say this is what we plan to do. You don't have to say this is what I've done all these flips because you want to be genuine. If you tell people you're new, let them know. Let people know where you are because you don't want to come off like a fraud or somebody that's fake and trying to take money on false pretenses because that is fraud, right? Tell
Yeah,
them this is what we plan to do, and you can say this is my team because once you join our group, then you are part of the team.
absolutely. Yeah, that's the part. Yeah, that's the beautiful thing. People in our mastermind, they leverage our team. I've gotten on calls with some of our students saying they're investors. I've gotten on calls with, they get connections to our brokers, our attorneys. Chris set up a lease option for one of our girls, helped her navigate that.
Three of them, yeah.
Yeah, 3 of them. And so
That was cool.
because we're trying to change the way people do real estate so they actually have a team. Because I remember doing this alone, man. It's tough to do alone.
Yeah, it sucks. You don't do that. I don't. Every time I do anything, write a lease, anything, I go right back to what I've already done and just copy it over and try to make it better. I don't start from scratch on nothing.
No, it's too hard to do that. It's too hard
Well,
to do that.
No reason to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, roundup. So look, we're gonna let you guys get out of here. We're gonna be covering creative real estate strategies. Subject 2, my favorite way. That's where we don't deal with the bank, lease option stuff, private money. Mike, tell us a little bit about your stuff real quick, and then we'll let them get up out of here.
Yeah, we're gonna be walking through some of the stuff we're doing on social media to raise private capital right now. So me and another buddy of mine, Nate Armstrong. Nate knows Nate. Chris knows Nate. He connected me to Nate. Nate and I raised some money. We started this funnel where we figured out different things of how to use a webinar and how to use some Zoom rooms to raise capital, and that's what we're doing right now. So
Nate's coming.
Yeah, we can get Nate. I haven't asked him to yet, but he would in a heartbeat if we invited him.
Wow.
Yeah.
You talk about funny guy. This dude.
Yeah, he's a beast. He's a beast. In fact, I'll pump up Nate because he would come and talk for
30 minutes maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, he'd love it. He'd love it.
This dude
but
is
the point is, and just to talk about what we're doing right now, because that's a good. So teaching how we're raising capital right now, how you can convert investors. I'm going to walk through the 3 magic emails we send to investors. I'm going to walk through that sequence in the magic text that we call it, of how to reach out to investors cold if you've never raised capital from them before. But either way, we're going to go through that. And then I'm going to also walk through some seller financing that we've done, more on just the seller financing, not on sub 2. And then you're going to watch some hot seats with our students that you just are going to, you'll learn as much from that as you will from the content. But it's a whole life-changing thing to see that. And
how important is it, Mike, you think, to have a social media presence in business in general, but moreover trying to raise money from people? Getting somebody to give you money.
Yeah, I would say that I used to think you didn't really need it. You could do it without it, until I started to seek to build one. And I don't even have what I would call a good one yet. I don't have near the following that Chris Haskins does online. And I can tell you this, the small following I've done has made a massive difference. Mm-hmm. Just the reason I started a YouTube channel was to raise private capital.
You're crazy, Mike. Mike is so driven, man.
Because when people come online, I wanted them to see me as a real estate educator. When you're an educator, people trust you more. And so that's why I started. Then it transformed. I never intended it to. It transformed into having courses and doing masterminds with Chris and trying to impact people. I didn't go in there, but the truth is, having that presence, I think, changed it. I mean, doesn't that make people trust you more, or what?
Well, I just want to hear from you. I want my roundup homies to hear from somebody else. I'm always trying to force it down their throat.
Yeah.
I do not have to tell people who I am. Not saying that I'm on Michael Jackson, Prince, none of that level. I'm just like, when I meet someone, the internet will tell them who I am, right? So, and not necessarily guy, flashy cars. I can't stand that crap. Oh. I'm just a guy buying houses, right? So when you show the internet what you do, when you meet somebody, yeah, man, check it out. Boom. I'll see you in a few days, few hours, whatever. The internet will paint a picture for you,
Yeah, it's true. And it's the same with, as Breven asked, how do you approach investors? One of the things to do is let them see what you're doing online. Mm-hmm. And they approach you a lot of times.
Yeah.
It's what we call magnetic. It's push versus pull marketing. Push marketing is going out, would you like to invest? Pull marketing is putting something online and it just magnetically draws them in. It pulls them in.
Way easier, dude.
Oh
my gosh.
Dan Kennedy taught me that with his book, Magnetic Marketing. He's like, man, you want to create something that people want to come to. And I'm like, oh, that's so true. And that's what
way easier.
So I think now you just got to have it. Nobody wants to sit on here online and say, hey, this is 7 ways nobody wants to do that, but we do it because it impacts people. And somebody out there is watching our video going, oh, I didn't know that. That's a great way to do that. Yep. And we got to have it now. We got
to have it.
Gotta
So
have it.
Roundup, I
Gary
know
Vee.
you.
Chris and I went to an event a couple weeks ago, listen to Gary Vee, and the stuff he just is like, man, you get out there and start creating content. And
Yeah.
he's crazy, obviously, on the amount of content he creates, but he's like, create, because it does feed the soul of a lot of people.
And you don't have to do what I do, even what Mike does. Do what the hell you like to do. I enjoy writing. Like, I don't even want to do videos. I do a lot of writing.
Oh, you like to write? Yeah,
I
exactly.
love writing. It's amazing how you can craft words and take somebody here and take it back in time and fast forward, do a third party quote. It's so cool.
Yeah, it's true. I was listening to a podcast with Tim Ferriss the other day, and Tim Ferriss talks about that. He would rather write than do anything.
Yeah.
He's a writer by nature. And I think all of us, Pat Flint, he's a podcaster by heart. He's gone over to YouTube and now he's blown up a really big YouTube, but he loves podcasting,
Yeah,
loves
he's a
audio.
monster.
So you may love a certain thing, but find something, because that's going to blow up your real estate.
And it doesn't have to be, you don't have to be an expert. Let's say I can only compare my personal platform. Like, I'm showing people what I'm doing. You can always show people what you're going through or what you're trying to do. If you just look
Yeah.
at houses, so we're gonna go over some of those techniques, how to use Instagram too, because you
Yeah.
got to know this. You have to know social media.
You do. Yeah. We got every single mastermind Chris and I have, we touch on this and teach a certain aspect of it, because it's really
You gotta have
important.
it.
You got to have it.
Ain't no
It's
way
just
around it.
not an option really anymore.
Nope. All
Yep.
right.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I'll look some
I'd
guys.
love to have you all join us this weekend. It's going to be a blast this weekend.
Yeah, Friday, 1:00, we'll get started. And if you want to get the recordings, they're there as well. You can come back and study anytime. Good networking. You can learn how to raise money, creative financing, multifamily, the way Mike puts those deals together. You can touch some of that syndication stuff
Yep.
too, or no?
Yeah, I'm going to talk about deal structure. We're going to go over just
Structure.
deal structure, how we're structuring this deal here, how you can get, if you do want to take on, like with our commercial deals, we take on some debt. If you want to take on debt, we're going to talk about what if you can't get that debt, you can actually get people to sponsor the debt for you, and which is what we're doing on this deal. So we'll talk about how we're doing that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll just go over some deals we're doing. That's easy to me.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Roundup homies, make sure you hit that like button at the video in the video below, and the link to join our mastermind just for the weekend is in the video description as well. I look forward to seeing you Friday at 1:00.
Friday, 1:00. See you all.
Subscribe to the channel, share with anybody else you think needs to understand how this real estate thing works so we can help them get where they need to be regarding financial literacy. I'll see you soon, Roundup. Peace.
See you soon.
Thanks, Mike.
See you, buddy.